yeah, in Hobonichi, Cousins, and Techo's, every month for the daily pages starts out like a blank page, without, like, they kind of like blur and don't have, wait, let me find, if I can find a blank page to show you what I mean. So like all these pages have the grid on them. But then, yeah, you see they don't print the grid out. Like, you can still see it on the opposite page, on these pages. So you can have, like, a blank, nice page for whatever you want to do. So normally it's just this, like, one half of the page, or, like, one side of the page that they do that for. But because of the way it was set up, this one had two kind of blank pages. So I used this page right here to kind of pay homage to a book that kind of encapsulated, like, the last chunk of my life, which was, like, I started writing it a little bit after I graduated college, and I was working in a special ed classroom, is when I really started it. And then, like, this was, like, one of those, like, I wanted to make it like a huge honking fantasy YA book. It was just a lot. So it definitely took, like, a long time to write. And I also, like, completely, I got a kind of writing coach, and not really officially. Like, I hired a girl who worked with me in the next job that I had, she was a proofreader, and I was the managing editor of the company, and she was, like, freelance, and I liked her style, so I asked if she could, like, edit my stuff, and it just turned out, like, she worked really well with me. And so she ended up looking over that book, and I just completely rewrote it based on her suggestions, and then went through a whole process about it. And I definitely want to come back to this, but because it's such a huge, that book, it's called Three Kisses, because it's such, like, a long, like, hulking fantasy book, and just has a lot of, like, world building and stuff. It makes sense why it is harder to, like, go out and find literary agents based on that. Fantasy is, like, kind of not the easiest thing to, like, approach the writing market right now with, from what I understand of, like, being a nerd and following, like, literary agents online. So anyway, probably wondering why it says The Lady of Shalat, because I said the book I wrote was called Three Kisses. So in college, my professor, who, like, I think it was, like, Victorian Lit 1, where we went over this poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson, and the main reading, like, he talked about was that The Lady of Shalat is all about being an artist, and how, like, sometimes artists, they have to, like, look at the world through a mirror, and, like, or in their art, like, if you read that poem, it's about, like, a lady who lives in a tower and weaves all the time, and she can only see the world through her mirror. She can't look around and see the real world. And so that's, like, art. It's like you're always looking at your own art instead of going out and, like, being sociable. And I definitely am a very antisocial person, so it was a big inspiration for this book. So I have that poem, and this is from, I have a coloring book that has, like, poems and, like, the like, illustration that goes along with it, and I just put some watercolors on there and cut it out. This is also from that coloring page. These like, wheat stems and the flowers there. And then I also have, and I drew the three main characters in that book. So this is Freya. She is a Caninian, which is a magical creature I made up, which is, they are half like human, half like canine creatures that are, like, a big part of the world I made up. And then a 1,011-year-old immortal witch named Gertie Malacasta, looking awesome right there, and then Princess Nicoletta Izara. And you can see what my plan is for this whole journal is that for these pages, I want to, for the for each month, make symbolism based on either the Esbet or the Sabbat in Wiccan holidays or Wiccan or pagan. I have been researching, not just with this book, but this is how I started, like the Wiccan faith and everything. For all the months, whatever Esbat and Sabbat is going on that month, I want to use imagery from that to illustrate those pages. So for April, there was just an Esbat, so the pink moon, and I went and highlighted all of that imagery. I literally put a little pink moon up there and a willow tree, because it's all about like air and wind is what I understand that Esbat's about. There's a dandelion and milkweed, and all those herbs are associated with the pink moon. More collage work with the coloring page thing, scraps that I had left over from over there. And oh, also every month I want to take a picture of, let me show you, the love of my life, which is, her name is Magic with a CK, my sister's cat. So I want to take a picture of her and then like make a little cute illustration based on that. And also my sister has a gecko, so whose name is Billy, and so I like at the last second she's like, no, you gotta include Billy, so I just drew a little bloop. That's our crested gecko.